from a fantasy perspective, he's gold dust.
It's going to be like a bulldozer coming at him.
Micah Parsons is there, and he looks to his right, and Micah Parsons is there again.
Let's just remind ourselves that the Ravens are 1-4.
If they beat the Rams at Wembley, it's game on.
Welcome back to the Early Hours podcast. Definitely putting the early in the name. Boys, good morning. Look, when we started the podcast and came up with the names, it was kind of like it was a double meaning in a sense that UK fans will stay up late into the early hours of the night to watch this late kickoff. But also on the flip side, the idea was to get up early and cover all the latest news and hit it running and get it out there before effectively anybody else. And we've actually been recording later on in the day, and this is the earliest we've been doing it. So good morning to everybody. Some fresh eyes for sure. I've definitely got my coffee here. Anybody else rocking a beverage?
100%.
Love it. Good bev check. A 3 out of 3 for the first time this season. Well, look. Let's dive in to Monday Night Football straight away. We had the Jaguars beating the Chiefs 31-28. Travis Hunter balling out, and Travis Kelce also with a touchdown. It looked like the tale of the two Travises.
Well, with Travis Hunter, he literally for the first time saw about a 50-50 split, and that's on offensive and defensive snaps. So it's mad. Before the season, we were genuinely, I think we were all a bit sceptical as to how they were going to handle it. Had they traded up for him to be a corner? Was he going to be this dual threat? He genuinely did play both sides of the ball last night. There was a play where 1 minute he was catching the ball from Trevor Lawrence. I think it was second down. They missed the third down, didn't convert, chose to punt. And the next minute he was back on in a 1v1 in man coverage against Xavier Worthy. So the fans really getting to watch their first round pick. But mixed night. It was not how the Jaguars wanted the game to start. Certainly not for the first 3 quarters, really.
But you can't knock beating the Chiefs.
No, you can't.
I know the Chiefs are up and down, but the Chiefs are the Chiefs, and a win against them does set you apart from other people.
100%, and they're now 4-1. So they're 4-1. So there's no. It's
and
crazy.
Let's just remind ourselves that the Ravens are 1-4.
It's crazy. The Jaguars and the Colts are near enough 1 and 2 seed in the AFC, which is crazy. So Bills are in there somewhere, but yeah. Interesting night from Trevor Lawrence. It was bad. He was scrambling at the 1 yard line for a touchdown. That was with about 23 seconds left on the clock. He essentially fumbled it to an extent, or dropped it, bobbled it, tripping over his centre's foot, and then ended up in the end zone. I bet the Chiefs couldn't believe their luck.
They look a bit scruffy, don't they, the Jags? But I think they look scruffy against the 49ers last week, but they get the wins. And you say it in our UK football, a good team is, when you play badly, you manage to get the win, and that's what they're doing. And if we're honest, last couple of weeks, the Chiefs haven't looked too bad, and Patrick Mahomes is actually low-key having a really, really good season. He's looking back to his best. Obviously, he had the pick 6 at the end, which is really, again, really tough for him. Similar to what we felt for the Eagles this weekend. It's really tough, but he's playing well, but the Jags found a way to do it, and if they can find a way to do it later in the season in the playoffs, then we could be looking at a team who is a bit of a sleeper towards the end of the season.
I'm sorry, just before you say anything, Oliver, the Jags getting to the playoffs. Have a word. Oh, look, they might be 4-1 now. Have a word.
If they beat the Rams at Wembley, it's game on. I'm telling you.
Between them and the Colts, we could see a real different team up there.
Yeah, 100%. But going back to your point on Mahomes, passed for over 300 yards, had a touchdown in the passing game, added 60 yards with his feet, just rushing for 60 yards. It's crazy from Patrick Mahomes. So just
I hate
the
turnovers.
Mahomes rush. I know. Just the turnovers and and he always does the fake, doesn't he? He always dishes the pump
honestly,
fake
the
like
little
he's not
twinkle toes down the sideline, it really gets on.
As a linebacker, or even sometimes if he's rushing on the outside, if the DBs are if he's facing up against the outside corners, he's pulling people out. What do you do if he hits that pump fake? Mahomes is so special at the line of scrimmage to be able to get that pass off. You have to. It's an easy decoy for him. But yeah, it's just the turnovers and the penalties.
You're not allowed to hit him. Can't hit him. Sorry, ref.
Yeah, the refs will be on you there.
Flag.
The last thing we'll say about Monday Night Football, Travis, I know you're watching. You get up as early as we do. Thank you very much for 19 points. You only need to get me 3. We beat Dome Patrol this week. Thank you so much. Boys, Quite a tasty selection of games this week coming up. Thursday night football, we've got the Eagles at the Giants. It's Saquon Barkley returning to MetLife.
Last time he came home, he got a really good reception. There was no hostility. There was no sort of animosity towards him. He was welcome back. At the end of the day, I don't think they wanted to let him go. It was just the GM, unfortunately. That whole back office was just what a blunder in the trade market they made. So, yeah, he'll certainly be one to watch. But for me, I'm going to focus on the Giants. Smells, I don't know if you want to cover off the Eagles afterwards. I think if they're going to succeed this week, obviously coming off the back of a loss to the Saints, it's going to need to be in the red zone. That's where they've been strongest defensively, certainly anyway. Allowing TDs on only just over 50% of the trips inside the 20, which might not sound groundbreaking, but in the NFL, look, if you can stop people in the red zone at least over half the time, it's something. So they need to be forcing the field goal unit out, certainly, and equally on the other side of the ball, Jackson Dart just needs to get back to that form that we saw in the Chargers game. We've seen now back-to-back weeks he's using his feet consistently. From a fantasy perspective, he's gold dust. So yeah, the Giants receivers, they're going to have to step up for him on this occasion. Struggled last week. Slayton only had 31 yards, Robinson 30, and then we saw the 2 picks from Dart. So much to be improved, but I think they can do it. They can certainly take the game to the Eagles and put that pressure back on the Eagles. We saw that's what Denver did last week. So let's see.
Well, I'm going to be Oliver this week, and I'm going to play devil's advocate.
No,
I'm going to say that it's going to be a real return to form for the Eagles. I don't think if they.
How is that controversial? But sorry, what?
It's just what he likes to say. I think if the Eagles could choose a game to follow up a defeat, I think the Giants is well up there. I'm not part of the Jackson Dart hype. He was throwing picks last week to a not great Saints side. I think the Eagles will run through them. I think it'll be another week of Philadelphia not throwing the ball. I don't think they'll need to throw the ball. I expect nothing but an Eagles win. I think a return to form for them. Barkley probably having a good week, and Jalen Hurts doing what Jalen Hurts does and getting the win. And it's going to be another loss for New York. And it's going to be another week for Jackson Dart to learn. Hopefully, let's not get him hit too many times, basically, by a pretty strong Eagles defence.
On the points you've made there, just very quickly, from a Dart perspective, that defensive line that the Eagles have, he's going to be under pressure a lot. It's a very, very strong, if not the best, one of the best defensive lines in the league. So he is going to definitely be under pressure. That'll be interesting. And on the other side of the ball, you mentioned Hurts there. They do have injuries on that offensive line at the minute. We saw it last week. He was under pressure a lot. I think if any D-line can take it to them, Abdul Carter, Thibodeau, Burns, they're absolutely poised to put that pressure back on Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, that's true. Speaking of injuries as well, Barkley currently questionable for tonight's game with a knee injury, limited practice this week so
Could be pivotal.
far. Could really be pivotal. I do think he'll get some snaps. I don't think he'll pass up the opportunities to play against the Giants at MetLife. But like you say as well, Jalen Hurts, he's needing a bounce back win. Like he got kind of showed up against the Broncos last week. And look, you can go 18-0 and have a great streak, but you lose one and then you're public enemy number one. So, they definitely need this win against the Giants for sure.
They do. I was just going to quickly say, just on the defensive line, to be fair to Jackson Dart, obviously they did pick up the loss to the Saints last week. He was only sacked once. However, against the Chargers, it was the 5 sacks against the Chargers. So 6 in 2 games. If they can protect him like they did against the Saints, maybe they've got half a chance. But yeah, if we do see, like the Chargers did rush him quite a lot and there were 5 sacks, like Oliver said, it could get quite nasty.
If they bring 5, he's in trouble. Put it that way.
Well, boys, some big money moves this week. The big headline, the breaking news, was Joe Flacco, of all people, joining the Bengals in what they hope to be their saving grace this season whilst Joe Burrow is out. Look, I've got 2 questions for you. First of all, was it the right call to replace Jake Browning? Should the Bengals given him some more time? And secondly, is Joe the right person for the job with so other QBs touted for that spot?
Well, first of all, that is, his well-known nickname is Big Money Joe. Obviously we've spoken about it for a few weeks now.
Hey, he's a Super Bowl winner, by the way, Joe Flacco.
Look, Joe Flacco, 10 years ago, great. I think Joe Flacco at 40 years old against the Bengals O-line. I saw
Aaron's doing it. Aaron Rodgers is doing it. Aaron Rodgers is like the best thing that's happened to the Steelers in a good 10 years. Genuinely,
I think comparing the Steelers O-line to the to the Bengals O-line is kind of like comparing me and Justin Jefferson in route running. And I haven't run for a couple of years now, just to let everyone know. So I think, no, I don't mind Joe Flacco. I think if you put him in a side where he gets the chance to play, he's not terrible. He was competent enough for the Browns. But yeah, I think we all saw the memes this week. It's going to be like a bulldozer coming at him, especially this weekend. Obviously, we'll come on to it. They're playing the Packers, who their D-line, it's not a very nice unit when it's coming towards you. So he's not the choice I would make. I do think they needed to replace Browning. I think it certainly is a step up. It gives them a chance to win games across the season. I personally would have liked to have seen them go and get Jameis Winston. I don't really see why they haven't, unless the Giants put up a hard bargain. Again, I don't see why they would. He's QB3 over there, and he wouldn't have brought the big cap space that maybe someone like Russ Wilson would have done. But it's a step up. It is a step up. However, I wouldn't be massively surprised to see Joe Flacco go down injured in the next 5 games, because he gets absolutely annihilated, unfortunately.
The only reason I can see that they've brought Joe Flacco in is cost. It's just he cost basically nothing. He's Mr. Reliable. He's been around a few teams. It's actually, for Joe Flacco, it's the Steelers are the only AFC North team that he's not played for. So here's hoping that
he's the Brett Favre of the AFC.
Yeah. So here's hoping that when Rodgers packs it in next year and they've got sort of Will Howard under centre, that Flacco's backing him up in Pittsburgh. That'd be nice. And then he's got them all for his collection. But yeah, I think this week against 2 points I want to make. This week against the Packers, it's obviously the second time he's meeting the Packers in 6 weeks. So he looks to his left, Micah Parsons is there, and he looks to his right, and Micah Parsons is there again. So he just can't get away from him. And he did such a good job last time out, the Packers. When they played Joe Flacco, he only completed 21 of 36 passes. He only threw for just shy of 150 yards, and he took 2 sacks. A sub 30 passer rating. So you partner that with the Bengals O-line. I can't see it being a good day out. And then secondly, I just wanted to touch on the QB room and where it leaves the Browns. I think with his departure, obviously Dylan Gabriel took the step up last week, had a fairly decent outing in his debut in London. Will Shedeur Sanders be the out-and-out QB2 ahead of the weekend? We've still got time for them to announce who starting quarterbacks are, who backups will be. Or will we see Bailey Zappi be called up from the practice squad? Had some time in, can't escape the league. Bailey Zappi he always seems to be on a practice squad or backing someone up. So had time in New England, and wouldn't be surprised if they make him the backup. I think the Shedeur Sanders carousel might go on, to be honest.
Can I just say, as a Packers fan, can you imagine if by some miracle they get the win and you get beat by Joe Flacco on 2 separate teams in a season? That would be crazy.
Me that the new QB bug does have that effect sometimes. So look, you'd never rule out Jamar Chase and T. Higgins.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, look, this could give the Bengals a new lease of life, which is funny to talk about a QB who's over 40. But look, I've got 2 things to talk about Joe Flacco as well. Interestingly, one thing, he did travel with the Browns to the UK and London last week, so he's not going to be particularly well rested, even though he was a backup QB there. So he's going to be a lot of travelling going into the game this weekend. But another thing, just touching on the Jameis Winston thing, do the Giants not want to give him up because they've seen Russell Wilson this season? They've obviously not backed him enough. They put Dart in, and they're still not sure on Dart yet. It's still early days. They need to maybe keep Jameis Winston around as well.
I don't think it's that. I think it's a good point you raised, but I don't think it's that. I think it's more so looking at teams like the Vikings this season. So the Giants have probably cast around a team like that and gone, do you know what? If it comes to it, Dart gets hurt, which he's a rookie, could easily be wrong place, wrong time, doesn't take a slide when he needs to.
Well, you see how he runs it. Yeah. He doesn't slide. Exactly. He just bashes into people.
And all of a sudden, Russ is getting on as well. He only has to take a little knock, and before you know it, you are on your 3rd string QB. So I think they're actually treading with caution. Daboll is fighting for his life as a coach and his coaching staff. So they've got to be cautious, and I think it's the right decision to keep him.
Yeah, so all eyes on Joe Flacco and the Bengals this weekend as they play the Packers on Sunday. Elsewhere this weekend, we've got a fair few games that we think you should be keeping an eye on, starting off with the Rams at the Ravens. Look, if you'd have told me any other season that this game was going on, I would be all for it, but I genuinely think that could get very, very messy for the Ravens, especially with the form that the Rams and Puka Nacua especially is on. Obviously, the Ravens signing Gardner Johnson this week, but I do not think he will be the catalyst in that side to make them come away with a win. We've got the Browns at the Steelers, a lovely AFC North matchup there, and then the 49ers at the Bucks, both teams 4-1 in the NFC.
I think that's a great game. First of all, I think obviously the Browns Steelers both off the back of international games last couple of weeks, so how fresh are they going to be? I think that's a really good one. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers in a good run of form, and like we said earlier, the Browns are playing well. They just need to turn it round. 49ers Bucks, huge game. We were talking yesterday offline about how good Baker Mayfield is playing at the moment. So we need big Sack Mac, the Mac Daddy to show up and show out. Hopefully we've got a couple of guys back.
Every week you've got a new nickname for this guy.
They're endless.
It's just great.
They're endless.
It's great. We've got a couple of guys back. Malik Mustafa's back. Hopefully, PSL could be fit. Jennings could be fit. So that's a big game in the NFC. Probably behind the Eagles and obviously mixed in with them, the Packers, probably two of the maybe top 5 favourites to take the NFC this season. So I think the Bucks are definitely the betting favourites, but that could be a really good game.
Kendrick Bourne actually one to watch this week. I think he did really well for you last week.
Absolutely. If Mac is still under centre, yeah. Just to mention quickly as well, George Kittle at the time of recording, we're still expecting him to miss this week, but not 100%. If he's back, that's huge. However, I think we're going to be Kittleless again, but still not quite sure at the minute.
Speaking of huge, a huge matchup as well. We've got the Lions at the Chiefs. Now, again, that is two juggernauts in the NFL, but both teams not really reflecting their performance from last season. Oliver, who have you got out of those two?
I'm going to go with the Chiefs to get a bounce-back victory. I think in this one, it's going to be...
Ford Field, that is not easy.
No, it's not, but I think it'll be run game heavy as well. I think Kareem Hunt finally showed signs for the Chiefs of potential success in the backfield. He rushed for 2 touchdowns, one of which was granted only a 5-yard score, but yeah, he helped them tie the game last week. He was he was there in crucial moments for Mahomes to kind of bail them out. So that's going to be key. I think Mahomes has got enough to evade the pocket and get away from Aiden Hutchinson, or be probably trying to hunt him down all night. I think it comes down to St. Brown versus Worthy. Obviously, they don't play. I can appreciate they're not on the pitch at the same time, but I think in that sort of wide receiver battle, that'll be quite a key area of the field. I just fancy the Lions to have a bit of an off day and the Chiefs to capitalise and bounce back.
As a Packers fan, I'd love the Lions to have as many.
Well, we need it, don't we? Vikings sneaking wins in London.
Yeah, Lions are 4-1 as well. Smales, are you backing for that one, or who do you think is going to come out?
I think I'm going to go the Lions. I think they've really hit some form since week 1. They've looked pretty much unstoppable, to be fair to them. I think the Chiefs have got what it takes, but we saw it this week, maybe just falling a little bit short in key areas. And I think against the Lions, you're going to have to be really on it to get past them this year. They're not quite having the down season, I thought, to be fair to them. So yeah, I've got the Lions. But yeah, there's a lot that could happen in what should be a good quality game.
If they can play a lot of man coverage on St. Brown, it's hard, obviously, because you have to mark Montgomery and Gibbs, and
Williams is playing well as well.
Is he though? I'm not sure on Williams. I don't think he's having that great a season. I don't know. I just think if you can play man coverage on St. Brown, it makes it relatively easy.
That's a proper Sunday night football matchup. Primetime doesn't get much bigger than that. And then the last game that I think is worth mentioning this week, of course, it's the Jets Broncos at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. A lovely 2:30 kickoff for the boys in the UK. And for the boys in this podcast, we will be down watching it live. So expect some social coverage and some game day reviews as well next week. Some loads of content coming at you from the early hours there. If you see us, say hello. We'd love to chat. And if you want to talk to Oliver about his hot takes in person, now is your chance. He will be there this Sunday. Before we round out the episode, boys, just a quick one. We just talked about a lot of teams, some good matchups this Sunday. Team of the week again. Who do you think is going to be the best team to perform? I'm just going to throw it out there quickly. The Broncos, definitely for me, for sure. Beating the Eagles last week. I think they travelled really well. Bo Nix is starting to look like we did last season and back to his true potential. I think they sweep the Jets this weekend, and the Jets will go 0-6 as a result.
Nice. I think just quickly on that point, what you're saying there about Denver, it's going to come down to, we touched on this on Monday's episode, but it is going to come down to Pat Surtain versus Garrett Wilson for me. Pat Surtain, I know I'm the stat man, sorry. I'm not making it statty this segment, but he's held opposing quarterbacks to under 50% completion, so Fields is probably going to have to use his legs, and if he does target Wilson, it's not good. It's really not going to be a good time for him. Wilson actually performs better in man coverage, but the Broncos are actually very, very efficient in man coverage, as you can probably imagine, with Pat Surtain at corner position. I'm going to go with the Chiefs. I've already touched on them. Versus the Lions. I really do think we'll see a shock result to an extent, which I can't believe I'm saying with the Kansas City Chiefs, but I think we'll see a surprise result there, and they'll cause problems for the Lions.
Both good shouts. I'm actually going to go with the New England Patriots off the back of two big wins. Obviously, put it to the Panthers big time, beat the Bills. They've got the Saints this week. Obviously, the Saints coming off a huge win. I think the Patriots looking good at the minute. So yeah, I've got them to beat the Saints, and somehow they're going to go 4-2.
This is a Patriots side that beat the Bills. What is happening for sure? Yeah, I like that a lot. There's not many games you can actually go in and say the Chiefs are going to be the underdogs. So for that segment, yeah, it's definitely an interesting one there. I think the Chiefs have got every right to win and every chance to win at Ford Field. But the Lions, on their day, like you say, Smales, they do look unstoppable at times. Look, thank you very much for watching this episode of the Early Hours podcast. We are very excited to be on the ground and watching football in person. We can't say that often when we are UK fans, but really, really excited, and we will catch you again on Monday.